Step outside the wall.
This is outside the wall. Outside the wall.
This is Outside the Walls, a podcast about breaking limiting beliefs and building a life that's actually yours through conversations about mindset, purpose, and life. I'm Dave Gast. Let's step outside the walls. Let's have a conversation about a happy life today. What does it actually take to live a happy life? Not a perfect life, not a stress-free life, not a life where everything goes your way. A genuinely happy life. Yeah, that's a question most of us wrestle with at some point, especially once we've checked a few boxes. Maybe we've built a career, raised a family, bought that house, reached some goals. I feel a lot of us spend years chasing happiness like Ron Burgundy chasing ratings. We've become convinced we're kind of a big deal, and people know my name, and they know me. Then one day we realize happiness doesn't care much about our resume. And the older I get, the more I believe happiness isn't something you find. It's something you build brick by brick, choice by choice. And if I had to boil it down, I believe a happy life rests on three pillars: purpose, people, and service. Take one of those away and life starts to wobble. Build all three, and you've got something pretty special. One of my favorite sports stories involves former NFL players after retirement. For years, these athletes have a schedule: practice, meetings, film study, games, a locker room full of teammates, and a mission bigger than themselves. Then one day, it's over. The crowds disappear. The cameras move on. The schedule vanishes. And many former athletes will tell you the transition is much harder than they ever expected. And it's not because they stopped making money, because they lost purpose. They lost that daily connection, and they lost the feeling of contributing to something meaningful. And the athletes who seem to thrive after retirement often build those three things. They coach, start businesses, invest in relationships. They serve younger athletes. In other words, they find a new purpose, they stay connected with people, and continue serving others. And that's not just true for athletes. It's true for all of us. Let's dive into those three things a little bit. And let's start with purpose. Purpose is what gets you out of bed when the alarm clock goes off instead of hitting the snooze button. It's the reason you keep moving forward when life gets difficult. Purpose doesn't have to be changing the world. It can be raising kids, which, by the way, is probably the most important thing you could do. Building a business, helping your community, creating something meaningful. The point is having a reason bigger than comfort. Second pillar, people. Never met anybody who lived a happy life completely alone. What matters? Family, friendship, and communities. The older I get, the less impressed I am by achievements, and the more impressed I am by people who consistently show up for people they care about. At the end of our lives, nobody wishes they'd spent more time working late. We remember conversations, road trips that many times things didn't go perfect. Those are the memories that tend to stick. Ball games, even if your team didn't win. Family dinners, coffee with a friend. The moments that connect us. Last, there is service. This one might be the most overlooked. We live in a culture that constantly asks, with 'em, what's in it for me? But some of the happiest people I know ask a different question. They ask, how can I help? Service doesn't require a nonprofit. It doesn't require a huge donation. Sometimes it's a simple phone call, a kind word, a listening ear. mentoring someone who needs guidance, helping a neighbor, opening a door. The amazing thing about service is that while you're helping someone else, you're often helping yourself too. You gain perspective, you gain gratitude, you gain meaning. You transcend yourself by serving other people. And when I look back at the happiest seasons in my life, they weren't the times when I had the most stuff. They were the times when I had a clear purpose, strong relationships, and opportunities to serve others. That's why I believe happiness isn't found inside the walls of comfort, achievement, or self-focus. It's found outside the walls. It's found when we live for something meaningful. We invest in people. When we make life a little bit better for someone else. So here's a challenge for you this week. Take inventory. How's your purpose? How are your relationships? Who are you serving? Because a happy life isn't built in a day, but it is built one intentional step at a time. And until next time, I'm wishing you a happy life.
This is outside the wall. Outside the wall.
Thanks for listening today. Share this episode with someone that is ready to grow. I'm Dave Gast. Keep stepping outside the walls.